When you think about knitting, one of the first projects that comes to your mind might be a scarf. It's quick, it's simple, and it makes a great gift in the winter, right? Well, it might not be as simple as you think. In this 3-part series, I'm going to make 3 different types of scarves with increasing difficulty to see how long it actually takes. I will start in this video with the most simple scarf, a garter scarf, using only a knit stitch. In part 2, I'll make a scarf with a design using both knit and purl stitches. And in part 3, I'll do a more complicated design using cable stitches. For each scarf, I will use the same size needles and cast on the same number of stitches. I will also use the same weight of yarn in different colors. The needles I will be using are my favorite pair of 4.5mm needles. I'll cast on 50 stitches using different methods in each video. While this many stitches may be too many for the garter scarf, this is the average amount of stitches I use when making cable scarves. For yarn, I will be using 2 balls of the HiMALAYA 100% anti-pilling acrylic in medium weight. This yarn is incredibly soft and pins very well. I've used it for many projects, mostly because it is the easiest yarn to get where I live. I'm going to start by casting on 50 stitches using a very basic twist cast on. I'm just going to loop the yarn around my finger and place it on the needle. I almost never use this method to cast on because I find it hard to knit the first row and keep the tension even, but it's still a very effective cast on method. Once my stitches are cast on, I'm just going to knit back and forth until I reach the end of the first ball. I'm going to leave a small tail at the end of the ball to weave in later, and when I start the new ball, I'm going to leave a bit of a tail as well. You could tie these together in a knot, but I want to avoid leaving any bumps in the finished project. Then, I'm just going to keep knitting back and forth until I've reached the end of the second ball. I want to stop knitting once I have only enough yarn left for one more row, so I can cast off. To do a basic cast off, you want to knit 2 stitches onto your right hand needle, then pull the right stitch over the left stitch, leaving only one left. Then knit the next stitch and repeat from the beginning until there is only 1 stitch left on your right needle. Cut the yarn, leaving a tail for weaving, and pull the needle to pull the yarn through the loop. Now all that's left is to weave in the ends and pin the work if you would like it to be longer. And there you have the finished scarf. It took me just over 11 hours and 10 minutes to finish. Obviously, if you use a thicker yarn and larger size needles, or reduce the stitch count from 50, this type of scarf would take much less time. On this scarf, I didn't do anything to clean up the edges, something I will do in the next video. Before pinning the scarf, it measured around 138 centimeters. After pinning, it measured 203 centimeters. Pinning, or blocking, a project is when you pin the project to foam pads at the measurements you would like it to be, and spray it with water or wash it before pinning. After leaving overnight, or until it dries, the project will keep the shape. Some yarns pin better than others, so it is best to research if you are planning to try to pin your project. In part 2, I will be creating a scarf using both knit and purl stitches to create a bit of a design on the finished project. I will show you how to clean up your edges and use a different cast-on method. Until then, happy knitting!